A bit unexpected, but I have it. The Steam controller. And not just the Steam controller, the Steam machine. Let's unbox this, set it up and do a first play and see what my thoughts are on Valve's Consolefication of the PC. Again, a bit unexpected, but I do have a Steam machine here with controller. This is the 512 gigabytes storage model edition, as you can see. Yeah, okay. Valve are on a mission to make the PC more accessible and friendly, especially for the living room and wherever else you want to be using it. So we've got the Steam machine here. Let's unbox it. Let's start with the Steam machine itself, put the Steam controller down, and let's see how we can unbox this nicely and safely so I can preserve. I think there is a removal tag here. Yes, there is. Nice and cleanly does it. Okay. What do we do here? Right, interesting. It's almost like a two-part bay experience. Woo! The Gabe Cube. It definitely does give me GameCube vibes. This is quite dense and it's got good weight to it. Oh, smells like a fresh console. But is it a console or is it a PC? Who knows? Let's see what else is there. We've got some instruction booklet. No access to this. Put this bad boy down. Nice and clean. Valve, I like this. Let's put the cube here. And we've got the power cables and the HDMI. So I really like the fact that we've got an internal power supply. So it's got the figure 8 barrel connector that's there, included HDMI cable. I believe this is HDMI 2.0 or maybe 2.1. I would have to confirm. And then you've got a European plug, but of course we're based in the UK, so we're going to be using the UK plug. Let's bring this to center. Okay. I'm sure you may have seen many unboxings, but since this is my first experience, keep it nice and clean. Ooh. There it is. The Steam machine. Interesting. These faceplates are removable, as you can see, but I don't have replacement ones. I didn't order any replacement ones. Very nice and easy. 2 USB-A ports. I wish there were USB-Cs at the front, if I'm not gonna lie. Power. Got a few at the bottom. And then we've got the back here. Fan, USB-C, 2 USB-A. So 4 USB-As in total. I wish there were more allocated towards USB-C ports, in my personal opinion. So that's already my first hardware kind of feedback to the system. Ethernet port, power connector, HDMI, and display port. Very, very simple and straightforward. I like that. I very, very much like that. And of course, at the front, you've got the micro SD card slot as well. So yeah, very simple, very straightforward. This is the Steam machine. I really, really like this. And I can't remember the size of the GameCube, but yeah, this is giving me GameCube vibes. And this will be sitting ideally next to my 55-inch 4K 120Hz OLED TV from Panasonic. And yeah, my PS5 Pro, as well as my Xbox Series X and my Nintendo Switch, which I do need to get a Switch too. But this is the initial unboxing of the Steam machine. Let's set it up in the TV and see how it performs. I got ahead of myself. I forgot all about the Steam controller. So let's unbox that. Heard good things about this control pad. So let's get into it. Steam controller. Eco-friendly unboxing, but I do like how clean it is. Your games at your fingertips. Steam controller. Interesting. Okay, we've got a pull tag. Oh, that's clean. Ergonomically, that feels really, really nice. Buttons feel solid. Trackpad. USB-C. Right bumpers and triggers. Back buttons. Charging dock. And USB-C cable. USB-A. Which kind of makes sense because obviously there's USB-A ports at the front. This feels really nice. I like this. Okay. This is the Steam controller. All right, let's go to the front room, set up the Steam machine with the controller, and yeah, let's get first impressions. And oh, the excitement for the Steam machine is real. As someone that's been a lifelong PC gamer, this has been the dream of the consoleification of the PC being accessible in as many places as possible, and especially the place that it doesn't usually belong, which is the living room. So my benchmark and my expectation of this first play and impressions and setup of the Steam machine is how smooth or how frustrating or how in between is the experience of making it possible to game in the living room. Will it belong and will it sit comfortably next to my PlayStation 5 Pro and my Xbox Series X? That's the real acid test for me. I know everyone's benchmark and expectations of the Steam machine is going to be different since at the core it is a Linux-based PC. But for me, the intent of the Steam machine is being able to game in the living room, having all of your Steam library and the access of it, and being able to comfortably play in the living room like you do with your Xbox or your PlayStation or your Nintendo Switch. So yeah, this was late in the early mornings, around just past 2:30 a.m. in the morning. So this is going to be the biggest acid test for how smooth and how straightforward that experience is. And so far, it was really good. The SteamOS experience with the initial setup and updates once you've connected it to your Wi-Fi or you've plugged it into the Ethernet connection, and also the prompts to, plug in your peripherals, whether it be a keyboard or mouse, or in my case, the Steam controller, was very straightforward. And also all the things with the screen calibration and signing in, straightforward with the QR code on my phone. And yeah, before I knew it, I'm in SteamOS, looking at my library, ready to install games and ready to play it in my living room on my 55-inch 4K 120Hz OLED TV. And it's just a dream. SteamOS is something I had the slight experience of it with the Steam Deck, but that was back in 2021 and it was brief. It was just for an hour. And I was just so impressed by the initial feel of it being so much more straightforward and easier to use than what you experience with Windows, not just on handheld, but just in general. And Valve have cracked the code. And I cannot say any more positives than that when it comes to this initial feel and setup. But as we're pretty much going through, I'm looking at the core games that I like to play from the jump when I actually install games on a new PC or a new console when it comes to using it. So God of War Ragnarok, I've plugged it into the Ethernet cable just to make sure that I'm getting a maximum 1.2 gigabits per second for my download, to make sure that these games are installing as fast as possible. Something like God of War is like 170 gigabytes, and I do have the base 512 gigabytes model. And as you know, the specs of the Steam machine, it is powered with, 6 cores, 12 threads for Zen 4 when it comes to the architecture. It does have a semi-custom AMD RDNA 3 with 28 compute units for the graphics. And the system memory is 16 gigabytes of DDR5 and 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 VRAM. That's one of my biggest point of contention, that I wish somehow Valve were able to have given us a 1 terabyte base model for the storage, as well as 16 gigabytes of video VRAM when it comes to the games, because natively when you set up the Steam machine to use it, it is 1080p. I did change that to 1440p, And I wish it was still around the ability to do 4K. And I'm sure you could do it with some of the older games, but 16 gigabytes of video RAM really will help with things like image reconstruction techniques like FSR and all these things where assets loading into games, for how easy it is to, do that, you're not really getting it in this particular situation. But let's see how well optimized it is. First game up is Project Cars 2, one of my favorite racing simulators of all time. And this game is not natively tested and supported to work on a Steam machine or even on a Steam Deck. So the real acid test is going to come once I went through all of the settings and did the graphical changes that I wanted to restart the game. I realized going through the UI, I did have to use the D-pad, couldn't really use the analog sticks where it worked, but yeah, it was smooth nonetheless. Came in once the game launched and the gameplay was going. I did not put the FPS overlay over. I just wanted to kind of feel it out to see, would I notice any dips or any gameplay frustration as I was going through. And at 1440p with the high settings, as you've seen, that I've set up for Project Cars 2, it is running like a dream, and it feels no different to how a console should feel. So I'll be honest, this first initial impressions of the Consolefication of the PC, I'm really impressed by it. And yeah, it just makes me wish that we got more out of the Steam machine, where this era of the RAM and the storage crisis has kind of held it back more than it should have. And I still wish Valve were able to push to get 16 gigabytes of VRAM and 1 terabyte of base storage, because even these slightly older games like Project Cars 2, the storage install base is like around 50 gigabytes. And the newer AAA games, yeah, they are even more. So you'll notice that I couldn't install any more games than the handful that I had before I was out of storage. So the smoothness of how you go in and out of the OS from one game to another is something that really impressed me. Again, switching from Project Cars 2, God of War Ragnarok, you can see that it was seamless, straightforward, and right into the settings, I was able to basically adjust it for what I wanted that was going to give me the best gaming experience. Of course, you do have support for the latest FSR, which is great to see, which is FSR 4.1.1. I put it into the quality settings, and of course it does natively scale it down and upscale it to 1440p for the global resolution. And God of War Ragnarok ran like a dream, no issues at all. So that more than passed the acid test, and I think this is probably the game that gave me the best experience on the Steam machine, and the confidence in how it is that you can just have such an experience with your Steam library like this. Yeah, it's really, really good. I didn't feel like the image quality was downgraded in any particular way, so the optimization and the experience here with God of War Ragnarok was really good. Now, seamlessly switching into Tekken 7. This is one of the games that isn't natively supported or tested on the Steam machine, or I guess on Steam's platforms with the Steam Deck. But honestly, as I got into it, powered by Unreal Engine 4, it worked great. It was actually really good. Being able to go in there, adjust it to the settings that I wanted. Yeah, there was no issues when it came to the graphical fidelity and the performance. As I jumped in, everything was up onto Ultra, and yeah, picked my characters, went straight into gameplay, and pretty much no issues. So I was left impressed with the gameplay experience with Tekken 7 on the Steam machine. So yeah, carrying on with this, it does feel like I stated, Valve have really pulled off the console feeling experience, that console-like nature of the PC. And if this is what we're getting right now, imagine if they actually were able to have priced it how they wanted to price it, around that 650 pounds price point, or dollars price point. Yeah, it makes me think. The love I have for the Steam machine in terms of first impressions is so high, but it also does make me feel sad. Tekken 7 out of the way, one of Insomniac's greatest games that they've ported over, which is Spider-Man 1. I don't have Spider-Man 2, but again, this is just my library. Getting straight into it to see how is the experience. And you can see that you've got the upscaling method as FSR 3.1.4. And I have enabled the frame generation as well and set everything to high. And it does scale it back in terms of the resolution down slightly, then up to 1440p. And again, web slinging in New York, absolute dreams. No issues at all Very, very, very smooth experience. And again, I didn't put the FPS overlay over because I kind of just wanted to feel it out for itself without having any visual aid to see what was going on. And yeah, no issues. Now, when we move into the next Insomniac game title, that is Ratchet and Clank. And that's where things do get a bit interesting in terms of teething issues. When going into it, this is the first time I experienced a major crash, and it seemed to struggle and not like Ratchet and Clank. I don't know whether that's because of how I switched into the game and I didn't close the game fully first, but I kind of did it the same way I did it previously with the other games when switching over, and this was the first hiccup. Maybe in terms of the build, the graphical fidelity of Ratchet and Clank is much more demanding. So what I did is I put the global settings back down to 1080p for the games once they load to see if it helped it and see if I could get into the game and how I would feel about the image quality and the fidelity at 1080p, and also the necessary settings for it as well in terms of the graphics. Now, putting it there, when I loaded in, I didn't like the overall image quality. It just felt a bit low resolution to my eye. So that's one of the things that I took away from the initial setup. Even though the graphics were on high, it just didn't feel as crisp as I would like it and I'm used to with this game. So we went back out, changed the globals up to 1440p resolution, just to give it that extra, detail that I expect, especially on a larger screen like this, that is a 4K UHD display. Then what happened was that we had a driver problem issue pop up. So in this whole experience, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is the one that gave me the most difficulty. So we scaled it back to medium overall. Some settings were high, like screen space, reflections. And once I was in there, I liked the crispness of the image a lot better. And yeah, it was playing much smoother. I was enjoying it a lot more, even at medium settings with slightly higher settings plugged into there. It looked really good. So the living room experience with Ratchet and Clank was a bit more challenging on the Steam machine. Once I was in there and I changed everything to the preset high at 1440p, no drops, smooth, and it was playing like a dream. So maybe there's a bit more consideration in terms of how you close the games and come into a game like this. This is probably the toughest challenge for a AAA title like this when it comes to Ratchet and Clank. Now, that is my initial first unboxing, setup, and first play of the Steam machine. And as you can see, starting around this time when I was ending, it was around 4:21 a.m. So from when I started at 2:30 till now, the experience was very straightforward. And this is a tough time to have actually done this, especially being tired, it being late. And I think in terms of the initial impression, it scored an A grade. Really impressed with Valve, what they've done with the Steam machine. Watch out for more reviews. I'm going to do a much more comprehensive, detailed review experience of this to really let you know what is the future of the PC platform with this. I'll be honest with you, with the rumors of what we've seen and how things are going for the next generation, this might be one of the best experiences we're going to have, but only if the configuration at the core with video memory and storage really comes into play. The price is already a problem. Why not sort everything else? Well, let me know your thoughts of the Steam machine in the comment section below. That's it for me, Ben from Lover of Tech. You enjoy videos like this? You know exactly what to do. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss future videos on the Steam machine on the channel. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.